So I want to thank everyone for joining today. My name's Mark. I am kind of jack of all trades with Frogdata. Most people I've talked to or communicated with in emails, but um, don't want to take up too much of your time today. But really what I want to do is just kind of give you an overview of one of the reports that are in our tool. And we have it for used and we have it for new. But today the focus is going to be on used vehicles and a report called the Used Vehicle Buying Optimizer. So I'm going to do a quick PowerPoint presentation and then kind of just show you the reports really quickly, and then we'll hold questions till the end. But really the goal of today is to make sure that you guys see the report and see how it might be able to help you guys in kind of giving you that clarification on what your gut tells you in regards to buying vehicles, so you know what are the right cars to be stocking on your lots. Especially you get a lot of people telling you what you should buy, a lot of computer systems telling you, hey, you should stock these, but are they really the best cars for your inventory? So with that being said, Ken, I don't know if you wanted to add anything before we get going here.
No, I just want to thank everybody for coming, and Mark is more than the resident guru, so he knows the tool inside and out, so that's why I'm going to let him drive today. So go ahead, Mark, you're on.
All right, so hopefully everyone can see my screen. So basically, what are we talking about here? UVBO is what we call it, the Used Vehicle Buying Optimizer. So really, what do these reports help dealers answer? So how to hit volume and gross targets, how to buy the right vehicles and then sell for a high profit while maximizing your turns. And obviously you guys all know that the factors to know in order to buy right are, one, when to buy, so based upon your inventory levels and days to sell, which vehicle to buy based upon your ability to turn and generate gross by model, and then how many to buy, so based upon your available budget. And we really feel that our used vehicle buying optimizer helps dealers.
But sorry about that, guys. Hello?
Okay. Yeah, you there?
Yeah. This is George Haddad. Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Sorry
right.
about that. I jumped in late.
No worries. We just started.
That's okay. No problem.
So the UVBO reports, and this is where the inventory data is coming out of your DMS. So when you look at this, you'll see sales data, 180 previous sales, and a sales forecast, and we're basing that based upon your dealer's historical sales. So here's your current scenario, right? So here's a used car manager reviewing your inventory position every single day, right? You got to identify inventory gaps. You got to create a purchase list. Most people are using vAuto and their provision list. Other people have whatever buying list they use. And so from that, you got to make a buying decision. So what's missing? Is your current inventory enough to meet the upcoming demand? Historical dealership performance. So what cars should I get? And then knowledge of gross profit per day per model. And that's kind of a question everyone always asks: is what is profit per day? So profit per day is basically your gross profit divided by your days to sell that vehicle. So a good instance is if you have a $3,000 gross profit selling a used car and it took you 10 days to stock, your profit per day is $300. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. So here's our solution, the UVBO. So here on the left is the used car manager using the UVBO to let your historical data guide you in your purchases. So there's our, the first report on there. People look at this when they go on the report, trying to figure out what that is. So basically that report is going to show you your previous 180 days of sales and inventory level. So that right there is your inventory level, so you can see where it's been and where it's heading. And then based upon your current inventory, in the next 60 days, where would your inventory be if you didn't acquire any more vehicles? So based on what you have in stock, what's your run out time? So our UVBO tracks your historical sales performance, predicts your dealership sales, identifies the right model to stock, and it recommends when to buy them. So how does it work? Well, basically, we've got a couple different reports on there. So every day we're updating your inventory. So anything that pops into the DMS's inventory is going to go into the tool. So we're going to analyze your last 180 days of historical sales, and we're building a prescriptive model. And so when it comes to analytics, there's informative, there's descriptive, and what Frogdata really provides for our dealers is prescriptive modeling. And what does that mean? We're giving you the opportunity to, not only are you diagnosing, but you're also getting a prescription as to, hey, this is what I need to do in order to do this, right? So the prescriptive is based upon your sales and based upon your next 60 days, this is where you're heavy or this is where you're light and you need to go out and get cars. And that's kind of the premise behind it. So we also give you the opportunity to input how many units you're targeting and then what your inventory value target is. Then you can optimize your buying list. And I'll show that to you in the tool here shortly. So basically, what's the key dealer takeaway? So, what does a dealer want to take away from this? So, one, the UVBO can be a powerful tool to help you make better decisions. It's data-driven, and it's your data. So this is specific dealer data to help you make the right decisions. It's not market. This is not using market data. This is using your data. It eliminates complexity, so you don't have to think as much. It's all there for you. And then it's easy to implement and use. And we really feel that that's you, the used car manager, after using our UVBO. You're standing on top of the championship cup and everyone's applauding you for a great job for buying cars and selling cars and making money. So with that being said, hopefully you guys understand that. I want to show you the tool really quickly. Does anyone have any questions before we jump into the tool?
So this tool is talking about the past 120 days and then forecasting 60 days out. Am I correct?
It's 180 days, so it's your past 6 months of sales, and it's talking about your next 60-day sale forecast. Now, a couple things to consider on that is that we don't know what inventory you have coming in. We can only see what's in your inventory system right now. So some of this stuff might be like, hey, I already know this, I already have these cars coming in. But yeah, it's based upon your current inventory levels and what you sold, and then where you're going to be in 60 days.
Okay.
Okay.
So the only thing that I think I don't see with this, and I did mention this a while back when I looked at it, was so in my world, springtime, people start looking for minivans.
Correct.
Fall, people start looking for four-wheel drive trucks to do, upgrading their plow trucks, and whatnot. Where does this take into account the seasonal differences? It just takes 180 days back. It doesn't take into account what happened last October.
Correct. The seasonality is something that we're going to be adding into the tool because that's obviously a hot button. In our other reports that we do have, and we can go into this on a one-on-one basis. So if you want to set up some time with Ken or myself, we can go through that with you. But we do have model sales analysis. And what we do is we look at specific models that you sold over previous periods of time, and it will give you the insight to show you when you sell the most of them, or when you should stock up based upon that. And we're just trying to figure out how to incorporate into this report. So one of the things with our reports is they're always evolving, and we try to use the dealers' feedback into how to make these better. Because we'll see something, we'll come up with an idea, and we'll put it in the tool, and then it's up to our users to say, hey, is this a usable tool? And so that is something that's coming. So I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know exactly when, but seasonality is very important. We understand especially in the used car, new and used, but especially used. Does that make sense? Does that answer that question?
Yep, that's great.
So really quickly, I'll show you how this report works. So what this is doing is we're taking your top sold vehicles. So this is our demo site. And so you'll see only 10 models up here, and then most of them fall into the other category. So this is really just a snapshot to show you your average inventory level over the past 6 months has been 136 vehicles. Currently, on October 9th, the demo site sits at 117 vehicles. So about 19 vehicles below average. So if no more vehicles were going to be added to the inventory, here's based upon your current sell rate on the vehicles you have, by December 6th, you're going to be below 30 cars, and obviously you're going to fill it in. So this is just telling you where you're at over the past 6 months, and then you can give an idea. So you can use this later on to determine, hey, do I want to get up to this level? But this is where we base our calculations on. So if you've been averaging 136 cars, we're going to base our reports on, hey, you've been at 136. It looks like you normally like to be at 136. So we want to give you a recommendation on how you can get up to 136 and what cars you want to buy to get back to that 136 level. And then also to look at the vehicles you sold. Are you going to have enough of those vehicles to meet the demand of what you've been doing on a monthly basis? So the first table below that, the used vehicle buying guide. So this is where you're going to look at your make and model. And so this is your list of cars that you've sold in the last 180 days. So you can see there's a listing of make and model of every vehicle. And what we do from your data is we pull in there all kinds of metrics. So, and these are all filterable and sortable. So depending on what you want to look at, if you want to look at the vehicles that you make the most per day, which means you sell them the fastest for the most money, you can click on it. So for this dealer, the Fiat 500, expected days in stock 600, the cost of 6,200. You know, these aren't very common vehicles, but you can look and see whatever vehicles you want. So we're going to calculate based upon the average of the cars that you sold. We're going to tell you what the average cost is, the average expected sale price, and your average gross. So now you can go through here and you can see how many am I going to sell, where am I on these? And then the next metric is supply gap. So what this means is the Mazda CX-5, based upon your previous 6 months of sale, you have 7 in stock. In the next 60 days, you're expected to sell 2 of them based upon your sell rate. So right now, you've got 5 more. Our demo dealer has 5 more than they need over the next 60 days. So you can make a quick decision to say, hey, look, the CX-5s, they're kind of getting old in the tooth. I keep them for 76 days. I don't sell that many of them. So maybe I want to consider wholesaling some of these older units because I'm not going to sell them anyway. But that's really up to you to make that decision. This is just giving you the guide to be able to do that. So when you do see areas here where your supply gap is 0, or you have a supply gap of, starts to build up 1, 2, 3, this is what you're looking at as far as recommendations on what to buy. So for this dealer, the Buick LaCrosse, not a big seller, as far as the gross profit that they make on it, but based upon the past 6 months of sales, this dealer is deficient 3 of them. So in the next 60 days, it's anticipated that you're going to sell 3 of these models, so you need to go out and get 3 of them. Okay, great. So what do? So I go down to my used vehicle recommendation table. I would look. Here's the Buick LaCrosse right there. It says I need to buy 3 of them. So now down below, I can go into my by trim, and I can look and see what vehicles I've sold in the past, and then I can tell my buyer can use this to say, hey, all right, this is the vehicle. The 2018, I've sold the most of them. So these are the vehicles that I'm probably going to want to go out and get. I sell some of the older models, but the 18s seem to be the hot ones for my dealership. That's what I can expect to make per vehicle, and there's my expected cost. So now you can go out and say, hey, I know that I'm going to, based upon my historical sales, I'm probably going to sell 3 of these, and I don't have them, so I should go out and get them. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So, what kind of questions?
Why do you have?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm looking at. Why do you have expected profit per day?
Basically, the profit per day is just taking your gross profit divided by how long it takes to sell them. So some dealers are going to go out and say, okay, well, what do I really want to do? I want to go out and find the vehicles that I can make the most per day that I turn the quickest. So it might be, like here's a car, the XT5. So it's expected I'm going to keep that in stock for 79 days. And based upon what I'm going to make on it, it might not make sense for me to go out and buy those vehicles because I hold on to them for so long that I don't really, at the end of the day, I don't make that much money selling them. So maybe I want to focus on, Cadillac XTS that I make $347. I have a quicker turn on these. More people come to me and buy these, or when I have them in stock, if it's the right one, they sell quicker and I make more money per day. It's just a different way to look at the calculation of turns versus gross, or combining them.
Okay.
So, and here's another, the recommendation table here. So here's what we're telling you. So for the demo dealer, the current used inventory is 117 units, and this is the value of the vehicles. Expected inventory in 5 days is 108. So based upon your selling within 5 days, you're going to drop 9 units, and it's going to go down. So, and here's your average gross from the recommended vehicles that you go out and buy. So you can adjust this. So if you're telling your used car manager that, hey, you've got a $3 million budget, and I want you to have 100, whatever, you can go out and enter that number in, and you can click optimize, and it's going to go ahead and change the calculations and go ahead and look at your sales, and it's going to give you a different recommendation on what to go out and buy. So now you can use that and go out in the marketplace, buy some more Lacrosses, Nissan Altimas, whatever it is. So it's really giving you the opportunity to look at your historical sales and then decide, which one, what are you deficient on, and what should you go ahead and stock, instead of just making the decision to go out and get as many cars as you can and not knowing whether or not those cars are going to sell or how long they're going to sit on your lot. Ken, is there anything you want to add?
No, that's great, Mark. I think you covered it.
Do you guys have any other questions?
Let's open it up.
You want to see in regards to this?
How to get to it?
Sure. So what you want to do is under the inventory tab, go down to Use Vehicle Buying Optimizer. And when you click on Use Vehicle Buying Optimizer, this is what's going to come to the top of your page.
Okay.
And remember, all of our charts, if you want to focus on certain things, you can hide. And then just for instance, if you want to see Chevrolets, what your inventory level has been on that, if you're a Chevy dealer, or and you sell a lot of those, or Subaru, so you can individualize and you can look and see how many of model, where you're going, your used inventory, so you can kind of get an idea of your daily flow based upon your top sellers.
Mark, if you want to demonstrate the sortability and the filtering of each report, that'd be great.
Sure. So anywhere in the tool where you see a table that has these boxes in here, that's a filter. So if I was going to look for a specific vehicle, let's say I just want to look at my Toyotas, I can go ahead and enter Toyota in. And so now it's going to narrow it down to just my Toyotas. And I can check and see all my key statistics. And if I wanted to look by any one of these columns, what's the expected gross, what's the highest, I can go ahead and click on the column and I can sort it high to low or low to high, however you want to do it. And so here you can see that at this particular dealership, Toyota Tundras do a pretty good job. They typically turn in 24 days. Gross profit's about $6,200. Have none of them in stock, but based upon what I've sold in the past 6 months, that I don't have a supply gap because I haven't sold any. I'm probably not going to sell them, so maybe I don't want to go out and get those. Whereas my RAV4, high volume vehicle, typically stay in stock 30 days. I can't gross a whole lot on them, but I can expect to make about $2,800. I'm short on that in the next 60 days. I'm going to need one. So now I can go down and look, and I can go to here and I can type in my Toyota. There's my RAV4. So what have I sold in the past 6 months? I've sold a RAV4, whatever this trim is, SW, I don't know what that means, but here's my profit per day on that particular unit. So now it at least gives me an idea that, hey, you know what? I've sold Toyota RAV4s in the past. It says I'm going to sell one based upon my history. Maybe I should, if I see one, the right one, or I've got one coming in on trade, maybe go ahead and acquire that because I know I'm going to sell it based upon my history.
So that pretty much says the one ton you did sell in the past 6 months, you hit a home run on, but you don't sell them very often. Is that right?
Yeah,
that's right.
It could very well say that, yep.
Okay.
And the one thing that we want to make sure we stress is that we're not telling you guys how to rewrite or redo your business, but we're trying to give you your data so that you can make more informed decisions as to, when you decide what vehicles you're going to go out and buy. This is going to show you and give you the opportunity to really get into the nitty gritty and see, hey, okay, and instead of just going out and buying cars, like I know Justin, we got a Mercedes guy here. The one thing from my 13 years at a Mercedes dealership, the one thing I always saw was our buyers going out and buying cars just because it was unique. And it, like, hey, we're going to get that one car, and someone from across the country is going to come and buy it from us, and we're going to crack them. And what happened is they never looked at their history, and they never sold these vehicles, and they would always end up wholesaling them. So it seemed great, but they didn't know how they did on them, and they'd always go ahead and take this chance, and it would sit around for 90 days, and then they'd have to sell them at a loss. So this can kind of help you with some of that, just so you know what you've done, to help you make a better decision if you need it.
And our tool often validates what you're already thinking, and it just confirms your logic and what to buy.
Yeah, and again, there's there's a few other reports, and there's another one that we're going to be getting into more detail for used car decision makers. It's called the Used Vehicle Selling Optimizer. We're tweaking the tool right now to make it a little bit easier to use, but really the whole idea is to give you the prescription to go out and stock so you can make more money and back up to the decisions that you may or may not already have a solid idea on. So if no one else has any other questions, I want to let you guys get back to your day. I appreciate you taking the time, and then anything that you need in regards to any additional training or more insights, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Ken, and we'll be more than happy to do any one-on-one sessions or more type of webinars like this.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for attending. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a good day.
Thanks, man. Thank you.